all of your favorite recipes.
Simply Food.
You should know by now that you're in for a treat.
Simply Food.
There's no other channel where you'd rather be.
Simply Food.
Seafood, pasta, cakes, and pies. Sing and laugh and even cry. Like and share and hit subscribe. Simply Food by TY.
Alright, I'm back. Alright, now look, today I wanted to make something for my friends out in the UK. So I decided that I was going to make a lovely Sunday roast. And as you guys can see, I did the damn thing. So let's get into it. Alright, y'all, so let's go over the ingredients. So you are going to need carrots. I have 2 cups of whole milk, 2 cups of plain all-purpose flour. I have 2 whole turkey breasts. Now, you can use chicken, you can use pork tenderloin, you can use a pot roast, meaning beef. You can really make whatever the meat you want it to be quite frank. It's really up to you. I'm going to be testing out 2 products in this video just because I simply did not want to make every single thing from scratch. So I'm going to be trying out this Tony Chachere's cornbread stuffing mix, spices and herb. And then because I'm just doing a very basic poultry, I'm going to be trying out this 15-minute marinade mix garlic herb and wine from Grill Mates to marinate my turkey breast. I have 4 eggs here, and you guys just saw when I did my bangers and mash video how I made the mashed potatoes as well as the beef gravy. So I purposely saved that because I'm also going to be adding that to the final dish as well. So you see that? You see that? You see that? Don't ask me for the damn ingredient list. Come on, child. Alrighty, so to make the marinade mix, we're going to keep this really, really simple. I'm just literally going to follow the instructions on the back. No, I am not sponsored by Grill Mates whatsoever. This is just a product that I wanted to use today to give a try because, again, I wanted to make sure that I had a nice protein of some sort, but I just didn't want to go through all the trouble of measuring out all the spices, so I figured why not try someone else's product. 1/4 of a cup of cold water. We're also going to add in 1/4 of a cup of some olive oil. You can use vegetable oil if you would like, or avocado oil. I'm just using olive oil today. And 1 tablespoon of white distilled vinegar or balsamic vinegar. Give it a light whisk. Place both of my turkey breasts that have already been rinsed off into the marinade. Put the top on this bad boy. And the good thing is that the Yorkshire pudding mix that we're making also needs to chill in the refrigerator. So I'm just going to allow this to marinate for 1 hour as well. Just note, though, on a lot of the packages, especially these like quick fix marinade things, they say to like be mindful of how long you marinate because this stuff is super, super concentrated. And you've also added vinegar to it. So you don't want to spoil the meat or change the texture of it. So don't be like using this quick marinade stuff and letting it sit in there for hours, or you could spoil the meat and you don't want that to happen. But an hour will be totally fine for turkey breasts. So that's what it looks like marinated. I'm going to place it in the fridge for 1 hour. So in all of my research videos I've watched of how people make Yorkshire pudding, I've realized that there are 3 crucial steps that all of those videos had in common. Number 1 is that you need to make sure that when you are mixing all of this, you allow it to rest in the fridge for at least 1 hour. It is extremely important to make sure that the batter itself stays nice and cold. Tip number 2, once you put it in the oven, do not open the oven or the Yorkshire pudding will deflate. So don't open it. And number 3, which is probably the most important step, is that whatever pan you're going to be making the Yorkshire pudding in, you need to make sure that you're putting in at least 1 to 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or bacon grease or maybe duck fat and place it in the oven and allow that oil to get super, super hot before you pour that extremely cold batter in. That's how you're going to end up with a crispy Yorkshire pudding, but also nice and fluffy, and it'll properly rise. I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour here that I'm going to be gradually adding in while I'm also gradually adding in the milk. So I'll do a little bit of flour and a little splash of milk. And I'm going to keep doing that until everything has been mixed in. And then in the very last second, I'm going to be adding in 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt. Like I said, before I add in the last bit of flour, I'm now going to add in 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt, the last bit of flour, and the last bit of milk. And I'm going to continue to whisk this until it is nice and smooth. Alrighty, y'all, this is looking absolutely fantastic. It is nice and smooth. just the way I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this to another container so that I can place this in the refrigerator so it can get nice and cold for 1 hour. And so as you guys can see, this recipe is yielding about 4 cups worth of your Yorkshire pudding batter. So you can either do 2 9-inch baking dishes or you can do smaller molds. That's completely up to you. But I'm going to place this in the refrigerator for 1 hour and I'm going to cover it up with just a little bit of cling film. All right, now to prep these carrots, we're really not going to do much to them. I'm literally just going to remove the stems and then just give them a good cleaning. I'm not going to cut them down. I want to keep them nice and long. The carrots are nice and prepped and ready to go. If you haven't already noticed, the theme of this particular recipe is just a lot of different pieces that are all going to be combined into one big bowl. Essentially what's happening. You know, it's not, I'm not going to sit here and say that every single Sunday they're cooking all of these ingredients all in the same day. From what I understand, a Sunday roast literally is just a combination of leftover sides that you've had throughout the week. And then they might prepare like a new protein to go along with it. So, you know, that's the exciting thing about this. It really is something that could be customized to your liking or whatever you might already have in your refrigerator. For this stuffing, I'm literally just going to follow the instructions. The only thing that I'm going to do different from this is I'm going to use 1.5 cups of water, 4 tablespoons of butter, but then I'm also going to be adding in a 1/2 tablespoon of the Better Than Bouillon roasted chicken base, just because that I always, if I'm going to make a stuffing from box, which I'm not opposed to doing, I ain't that bougie, but if I'm going to do it from the box, I have to cook it in chicken stock. I can't just cook it in water. So that's the only thing that I'm going to do different. So I'm going to go on ahead and make that right now. And just as a quick reminder, I'm not adding in any additional salt to this. This is 1.5 cups of water, 4 tablespoons of butter, and 1 heaping tablespoon of that Better Than Bouillon roasted chicken base. So that means that this is already going to be super concentrated as is. And we do not want to oversalt this because there are going to be many different things inside of our Yorkshire pudding that's going to be topped with gravy that is already highly seasoned. So we want to make sure that we're balancing out the salt. You know what to do. Give it a mix, turn it off the heat, let it rest for about 3 or 4 minutes. All right, y'all, so I'm going to give the stuffing a taste just because I want to taste it by itself so I can tell y'all if it's even good to begin with. It's actually not bad. It's... okay. The texture of this definitely gives traditional dressing in the sense of it tastes like cornbread that's been like stale and then rehydrated with like a good chicken stock. I will give it that. It has a little bit of spice to it, so that must be the Creole spices. Yeah, I'm not opposed to this. I would say it's like a step above stovetop. Still gives box dressing, but this definitely tastes better than stovetop. All right, y'all, so it has been exactly 1 hour since my turkey breasts have been marinating. I've now transferred them over to my air fryer because you know what? I realized that I have a roasting option on my air fryer and I've never tried it, so I figured why not today? But you can bake these in the oven. That's completely fine at like 350, you know, until that internal temperature hits the, you know, the safety mark. So I'm going to plop this in my air fryer and I'll let you guys know exactly how long it took and at what temperature once it's all done. Just letting you guys know, I currently have it set on my roasting option at 375 for 45 minutes. I'm going to make sure that I'm going in periodically and checking on it just to make sure that it's not drying out. And I'm sure you guys are already aware of this, but make sure before you start to preheat your oven, make sure that the rack is down low enough because the hope is that your Yorkshire pudding will rise. So you want to make sure that you're taking that into account. So just do it now before you even turn the oven on so that you don't try to burn yourself later on. And while we're talking about preheating, I have my oven preheating to 425 degrees. I want the oven to be nice and hot. Like I said, today I'm going to be making 2 giant Yorkshire puddings. You can use the other molds where they're a lot smaller. That's completely fine. But because I'm doing like a Sunday roast where essentially my Yorkshire pudding is going to double as the bowl itself, that's the reason why I'm making 2 large ones. And these are 9-inch baking tins. I'm going to be adding in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil to each of them. Like I said, you can use bacon fat. You can use duck fat. You just really want to make sure that there is a significant amount. And honestly, I think I'm going to do 4 tablespoons just to be on the safe side because I want to make sure that the bottom is fully coated. So I'm going to do 4 tablespoons per pan. All right, y'all. So I have placed my pans with the oil in the oven at 425 and I'm going to set a timer for about 10 minutes. And so that I don't have to open up the oven once I put the Yorkshire pudding in the oven, I'm going to put my carrots in right now so that I don't have to open it up and I don't have to mess with them. I've literally just tossed it in olive oil with a little bit of black pepper and coarse kosher salt. I can smell that this vegetable oil is nice and hot, so I'm very carefully going to take this out of the oven. And I'm now going to pour in about 2 cups worth of the batter. Be very careful, but move relatively quickly. Place your Yorkshire puddings in the oven and do not open them. I'm going to set a stopwatch, so I'll let you guys know how long this process took. So just wanted you guys to see, we have about 20 minutes left on that 45-minute timer. And so far, our turkey breasts are actually looking quite fantastic. So let's let it keep going. All right, so I must say, this roasted turkey breast turned out significantly better than what I thought it was going to. The internal temperature is reaching well over 165. So now I'm just going to allow this to rest for about 10-15 minutes before we slice into it. All right, beautiful people. So this is how it turned out. And honestly, I'm not really mad about it. Now, I purposely wanted to do it in a large pan like this because I saw a young lady do hers, and hers kind of came out like slightly cupped up, kind of like a bowl, but it looked like a plate. And that is essentially what I've gotten here. This is what I wanted. So I'm actually really, really happy about this. It looks really uniform, which I can't believe I managed to get on the first try. I think there's some things that I would maybe try slightly different the next time, maybe just a little bit thinner batter and maybe allow the oil to preheat just a little bit longer. But overall, I'm not mad about this whatsoever. So I'm going to allow this to cool in this for about 2 minutes or so, and then I'm going to transfer this over to my plate. And then we can finally assemble our lovely, perfect, totally posh holiday Sunday roast. Alrighty, y'all. So let's build this wonderful masterpiece of a creation. So we're going to start off by adding in some of the lovely mash. You guys saw how I made that when I made my bangers and mash. We're also going to add in some of that lovely dressing. We're going to add in a few slices of that absolutely succulent turkey breast. Our roasted carrots came out absolutely divine. Some of the peas, and then we're going to top it off with some of that lovely beefy onion gravy. Let me tell you something. This just, it just turned out so incredible, and it just looks so visually stunning. So I'm very much in love with all of this. Okay, you guys, so I'm really, really excited about this. This plate looks absolutely fabulous. So let's dive in. Let's see how we did. Okay. A little bit of the dressing. Let's try the turkey breast. This turkey breast is super, super juicy. Okay. I'm a little bit in shock that I don't need to add any salt to that. Yeah. This is really good. This was a labor of love that has definitely paid off. I ain't gonna hold you. When I tell you this plate is seasoned, like, I'm honestly in shock by how good that turkey breast is. I did not add any salt to that whatsoever. And it is, when I say perfectly salted, and it might be because that packet is supposed to be for 2 pounds of meat, and this was like 1.5. So maybe because I use slightly less meat than what it calls for, maybe that's the reason why it's the nice amount of saltiness. But this onion gravy that I made, the potatoes, the dressing, it is just...
Slaying in the kitchen.
Simply Food by TY.
We hope that you enjoyed it.
Simply Food by TY. If you haven't took the time, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Simply Food.